A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord, and in our headlines, Prime Minister Mottley says Barbados is not sparing any resources in the search for the missing American couple. Major benefits expected from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development to be held right here in Barbados. A search is on for talented Barbadians. And in sports, India knocks the Windies out of semi-final contention with a massive defeat at Old Trafford.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
And in our top story, Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley returned from an 8-day trip today with news that Barbados has been able to make major strides in its bilateral relationships with a number of countries and entities that will see increased trading opportunities and a major boost to the tourism sector. But in a press conference held at the Grace Adams Suite of the Grantley Adams International Airport shortly after she arrived this afternoon, Prime Minister Mottley first dealt with the issue of 2 American visitors who have been missing since going on a jet ski ride on Monday. The Prime Minister says that no resources will be spared in trying to find them. And our Ryan Broom joins us now with those and other details from that press conference. Good evening to you, Ryan.
Good evening, Lisa. Good evening, viewers. Yes, Prime Minister Mottley says she had been briefed by the Chief of Staff of the Coast Guard, the Acting Commissioner of Police, and Attorney General Dale Marshall on all of the efforts related to the search. She also assured the missing visitors' families that all is being done to find them. The Prime Minister was also able to confirm that in addition to regional assets, the United States government has also been approached to give their assistance in the aerial search effort.
Let me say on behalf of the people and government of Barbados to the families who are here how deeply sorry I am to hear that your relatives are missing. I want to give you the assurance that the government of Barbados will do all that is humanly possible for us to try to find your relatives. The police and the Coast Guard and the regional security system have already been on the job since Monday evening, I'm told, and in spite of the fact that these searches normally will last 72 hours, I've given the instructions for us to go for another 72 hours because we need to literally ensure that we have exhausted every possible opportunity with respect to finding your relatives.
Now, touching on matters related to a recent trip, the Prime Minister also commented on the recent announcement that Barbados will host the 15th Quadrennial Conference of UNCTAD Trade Assembly and the accompanying events that include the World Creativity Forum and the World Youth Forum next year.
I want to thank all who were involved at all levels, the Ambassador at Geneva in particular, Jack Blackman, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, who would have supported him in his efforts to minister in the PS, Minister Walcott, PS, Rudder, the Ministry of Tourism and International Transport. Indeed, I left here last week to go and meet with the Director General of UNCTAD and to be able to make whole the written requests that we made, and Minister Simmons would have completed the job for me on Sunday as well by ensuring that going in Sunday to ensure that from a tourism perspective, because we're talking about 3,500 delegates and visitors to the island. It's a massive undertaking, but it is one that we feel that we are more than capable of doing.
Now, the Prime Minister adds that the importance of this conference in boosting the island's tourism product is just one aspect of just how significant the achievement is.
It is in fact also in the fact that we will chair the next round for the next 4 years, and we will be at the center of trade and development discussions globally, which will help us begin to expand the possibilities, because small states and countries like ours have been suffering over the course of the last decade and a half with respect to the constriction of policy space.
Now, Lisa, in addition to comments on next year's UNCTAD conference, the Prime Minister also went on other issues. She revealed that she and other officials held talks with the heads of some of the biggest cruise lines in the world to look at new ways of partnership, including in areas such as port development. And finally, the Prime Minister also commented briefly on the issue of Barbados selling some of its share ownership in Liat. She said she and Attorney General Dale Marshall both confirmed this afternoon that those negotiations with the Gaston Brown administration in Antigua will officially get underway next Monday right here in Barbados. It's back to you, Lisa.
Thanks so much, Ryan. A lot to take in there. Well, Minister of Innovation, Science and Smart Technology, Senator Kay McConney, says the introduction of the Data Protection Bill 2019 will be about more than just Barbados fulfilling its international obligations. Speaking during the Joint Select Committee on the Data Protection Bill 2019 in the Upper House, she says it will also facilitate information sharing with overseas partners.
Barbados has certainly set itself on a path towards digital transformation, and even as we seek to implement the kiosk at the airport, we are recognizing that there is some urgency in us ensuring that this legislation gets in place because it facilitates the exchange of information with some of our partners in the EU and other places. And so it is not just what we're playing catch up with, it is also what we need to accelerate towards in order to facilitate the transformation that we're seeking to bring on a digital level.
And we're hearing that the introduction of data protection legislation in Barbados is long overdue. That's according to Bartlett Morgan, an associate of Lex Caribbean Attorneys at Law. He explains that the introduction of comprehensive data protection legislation is a stipulation of the Economic Partnership Agreement, which Barbados signed onto over a decade ago.
Among the hundreds of articles that we agreed to, when you read almost to the bottom of it, one of the primary things was that we would pass data protection, comprehensive data protection legislation within 7 years. Now, we signed on to that in 2008. And so, literally, we are past due on a very serious international obligation, as it were.
As the island battles rising levels of crime and violence, Barbadians are being urged to respect law and authority. The encouragement comes from Parliamentary Representative for Christchurch South, Ralph Thorne. And he made those comments during a recent meeting of the Enterprise Development Neighbourhood Watch, which is restarting after being dormant for around 30 years. At that meeting, Mr. Thorne noted a mutual respect must exist between communities and the police.
It is the duty of the police to protect us. You've seen their motto: to serve, protect, and reassure. The police ought to be our friend, and we must try to be the friends of the police.
Well, an island-wide search for talented Barbadians is about to start. It's a project, according to Minister of Youth Adrian Ford, that is seeking to put the spotlight on talented Barbadians in an effort to help them reach world standards. Minister Ford launched the Beige to the World talent show this morning and explained the audition phase will make stops across the island and there will be a life skills component attached as well.
At the same time, stimulating commercial activities. Because we will have these shows, the competition, in what we call the rum shops, if they have the capacity, the community centers, when they are available. We are going into the community. We are asking people to come out and showcase their talent. Let us nurture that talent. Let us provide the training that is needed. That's what we are doing. We are going to provide, using master artists and Trojans in any communities, skilled craftsmen, to be able to help build up our young people.
Will be similar in structure to other talent competitions like Britain's Got Talent, but coordinator Kamal Clark says the Bajan version will have some added elements. He says there will be 15 events spread across 9 months, showcasing a variety of talent from vocalists to stunt performers and others.
As we go from stage to stage, we will take the talent from the audition level to the next level. So when you leave an audition as a winner, you will be trained not only to sing, not only to play an instrument, but you will be able to stand on a stage. Your deportment, your every aspect of being on that stage, we will touch.
Regional news now in St. Lucia. The manager of the Boys Training Center has responded to complaints leveled against him and his management team by staff. Now, Wang Sun Sun says he is remaining focused on bettering the lives of the boys at that center while addressing the legitimate concerns of the workers.
Some members of staff of the Boys Training Center held discussions on Tuesday with their trade union, the Civil Service Association, during which they outlined their laundry list of complaints against the manager of the BTC and his assistant. In a sit-down with News Force on Wednesday, BTC manager Wang Sonson says the changes he's introduced are in the best interest of the boys, whose welfare is the BTC's top priority.
It's always a process when changes taking place, and certain persons are challenged because of the lack of professionalism. Persons feel that they are being victimized. But as the manager of the institution, I have a duty of care to the boys that are here. And if I believe that the boys' rights are being trampled on, I will stand up to persons who I believe are doing a disservice to the boys that we are here to make sure that the care and the well-being is taken care of.
Antigua and Barbuda is officially the home of the 4th landed campus of the University of the West Indies, the Five Islands campus. That announcement was made by UWI's Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, during a press conference at the university's first campus at Mona over in Jamaica.
Like Mona in Jamaica, Caville in Barbados, St. Augustine, Trinidad, the campuses of the University of the West Indies have produced some of the finest intellectuals around the world. Antigua and Barbuda leaps into that distinguished group with this major announcement.
I am honored to report that Chancellor Mr. Robert Bermudez and the Council of the University of the West Indies have formally approved the establishment of a campus of the University of the West Indies in Antigua and Barbuda within the wider context of the country's membership of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States.
The doors of UWI's Five Island campus will welcome its first set of students in September of this year, some 800 of them already enrolled at the Antigua State College.
A British Virgin Islands court has found Guyanese beautician Lolita Callender, called Lola Doll, guilty of falsifying medical test results. We have a report from HGP TV.
Lolita Callender, Guyanese social media sensation and entrepreneur, will now have to spend 6 months incarcerated in Her Majesty's prison in Bossum Gut Tortola, British Virgin Islands. A seemingly remorseful Lola Doll, as she's popularly known, was found guilty by a BVI court of falsifying medical documents. There is no indication at this point whether Callender will be deported to Guyana after serving her time in prison. Her attorney, Stephen Daniels, before sentencing had submitted to the court that the prosecution in the case failed to prove its case against Callender, thus submitting a no-case submission. The magistrate in the case, however, had a different view on the matter and as such informed the court that there was enough evidence to convict the Guyanese businesswoman. Callender was arraigned in BVI on a charge of conspiring to personate.